It's nice to
Alive.
Belizean people at home and abroad. Welcome to this, the 108th Belizean Affair show. Sitting with me virtually as my co-host is Mr. Roody, followed by Mr. Leonard Brackett. I, Mr. Gregory Brackett, is the chairman for tonight. With that said, let me go straight to Mr. Wade for the prayer, followed by a reading. Mr. Wade.
Thank you, Gregory, Chairman for tonight, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company and company of Leonard. And like you rightfully says, welcome to our 108th edition of Belizean Affairs. Came a long way, 108 and counting. And like you always, we always start out with a prayer and a reading, and I will go straight, Mr. Chairman, to the prayer. So can we bow, please? Almighty and eternal God, as we come to you again with humble hearts and with faith, God Almighty, please continue to bless our Belizean Affairs show and bless us.
Amen.
We ask for guidance, wisdom, understanding, courage.
Amen.
Give us the strength to overcome the challenges. Give us the wisdom to make the right decision
Amen.
and compassion to love one another.
Amen.
May your light shine upon us, defending the poor, the voiceless, and for those who for some reason is afraid who cannot do so.
Amen.
Lord God Almighty, as we entrust in you our faith, hopes, dreams, our worries, our loved ones, family, in your
Amen.
loving hands, Lord God Almighty, please continue to protect Belize and its people
Amen.
as we are still a godly nation. We pray that our leaders who we elect to protect and serve us, to turn from their wicked ways and do right by people and nation,
Amen.
so that all humanity live in peace and tranquility. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Back to you,
Amen.
Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Wade. Mr. Brackett, the reading.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll read Proverbs chapter 11, verse 1, 2, and 3, which reads as follows: A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. When pride cometh, then cometh shame, but with the lowly is wisdom. The integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. Amen. And that's the reading of the scriptures for tonight. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, sir. With that said, let's go to our first music.
Make I tell about our old story. How me ancestors them get glory. After war and fight for this land, today I feel proud to be Belizean. And every time I walk through the streets, I feel so blessed, so good and so free. And every time my foot touch the beach, I feel so at peace, thanking God for my country. And I don't know how it make you feel when the breeze such a fracas just touches you up, but I'm kinda living in a fantasy. It's the only place that I wanna be. My Belize. to me, Belize. Make I tell a little bit about my history. Home Belize was a British crown colony. By September 1981, we take back we country in a we hands. And every time I think about Belize, I feel so blessed.
Again, good night to this 108th episode of Belizean Affairs. Gentlemen, tonight we will have a full plate. There is many things to discuss. And as usual, let me start with my first video for you, the people at home and abroad.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs went over the key points of her visit.
The Secretary, of course, has visited here in Belize, had an opportunity to visit with a cross-section of key stakeholders in Belize, and we hope that has allowed her to gain a better understanding and an appreciation of how the U.S. can align their support and work towards collaborative solutions with Belize. And we just had a very good discussion. We talked about citizen security, human rights, democracy, the amnesty program, the migration issue, and issues that affect the most vulnerable in our society.
The United States views Belize as a vital partner in shared priorities, including, as the foreign minister shared, humane migration management, human-centered civilian security, democracy, and human rights. I commend Belize for its leadership advancing humane migration throughout the hemisphere and its groundbreaking efforts to support displaced persons within the country, including through the amnesty program.
One of the key issues for the U.S. is Belize's amnesty program, which, as the U.S. sees it, is somewhat reducing migratory pressures on their borders. But is it really? With the flood of Central American and global immigrants pushing towards the U.S. border, might that have even undermined the amnesty program, which came way short of meeting its targets? We asked today. Here's more.
Or is the situation at the U.S. border, did that end up working as a disincentive against the projected success of the Belizean amnesty?
Oh, thank you for this question. I don't share your assessment, in terms of the U.S. having a direct impact on the volume of applicants for the amnesty. But I would say a few points here. One, I think it's important to note and commend that, just in the last week, the first residency cards were issued as a result of this amnesty process.
You're right. This was a very challenging process, and it didn't meet our expectations, but there were lots. We discussed this in our meeting earlier. Many factors that contributed to that. First and foremost, the issue.
Now, ladies and gentlemen at home and abroad, and my good cousin and you, Mr. Wade, listening to what this lady said, I believe, it is my belief, that the amnesty program was done to help curb people going into the United States, and by doing that, it puts more marginalization on all Belizean people. Now I go to you first, my good person.
Your observation is well taken, and I think appropriate in the context of what's been going on. Because before this migration issue towards the United States in the kind of volume that is happening, we did have some problems, but not as much as we do have today. And we didn't have our government getting so involved directly and barefacedly transgressing our existing constitution instead of trying to change it so that they're not ending up being scofflaw and violating it, because that's precisely what is happening. I have a lot more to say about this, but I would like to yield back for right now.
Mr. Wade?
Yes. No, interesting. You see, they tie in this migration issues. Perfect timings for amnesty, right? You listen to the lady. She also knows that there are cards, amnesty cards being issued, right? So, um, for those who do not know, the U.S.
Uh,
Really
Mr.
contribute
Mr.
to.
Mr. Wade, Mr. Wade,
Oh
this is
yes, you want
I
to
just want to
welcome. Yes, yes,
acknowledge that Sharon
yes,
is in the
let's.
background,
Yes, want to
and
acknowledge.
Good
uh,
If
night.
you want to go ahead,
when you get a break,
Mr.
no, when you get a break, we'll have her introduce
No, no,
and
let her. No, I already.
go ahead.
I break. Yeah. Yes.
Good night, Belizeans at home and abroad, and good night, Mr. Brackett to the second power, and Mr. Wade from out west, the best, except when you call east. But all the way as Belizean, the rank amongst the best, right?
Amen. Thank you very much for
It's
gracing us
always
again, Sharon.
it's always a pleasure, Miss Pitts, to have you. For those who are just tuning in, we just welcome attorney at law, Miss Sharon Pitts. She's a regular on our program, but she was absent for a little bit, and I keep asking where she at, right?
Prodigal,
Glad.
prodigal. The emergency
Yes,
ongoing.
yes, man. But we
Thank
we
you.
we gladly, you always welcome, Miss Pitts. Like you're a part. You play a very integral, good role in our program, right? And we appreciate that, right? Really, from the heart. Um,
Appreciate all you gentlemen continue to do, no? For Belize, not salt of the earth Belizeans, who, I really I really touched and impressed by your commitment and your work and, how you all are individually and collectively, the voice for Belize, a
yes,
voice for Belize, right?
exactly, exactly. Thank you. We were talking about the amnesty thing, Miss Pitts,
Uh,
right?
Greg, uh, Greg,
So maybe Greg could play that one more
that's what I
time.
was going to ask him to
Yes,
do.
So
Just
because Miss Sharon just
could
tuned
get the
in, no? So yeah, make
yeah,
she get
get her.
what
Let me
Greg,
you need
replay
to
it,
learn.
Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs went over the key points of her visit.
The Secretary, of course, has visited here in Belize, had an opportunity to visit with a cross section of key stakeholders in Belize, and we hope that has allowed her to gain a better understanding and an appreciation of how the U.S. can align their support and work towards collaborative solutions with Belize. And we just had a very good discussion. We talked about citizen security, human rights, democracy, um, the amnesty program, the migration issue, um, and issues that affect the most vulnerable in our society.
The United States views Belize as a vital partner in shared priorities, including, as the foreign minister shared, humane migration management, human-centered civilian security, democracy, and human rights. I commend Belize for its leadership advancing humane migration throughout the hemisphere and its groundbreaking efforts to support displaced persons within the country, including through the amnesty program.
One of the key issues for the U.S. is Belize's amnesty program, which, as the U.S. sees it, is somewhat reducing migratory pressures on their borders. But is it really? With the flood of Central American and global immigrants pushing towards the U.S. border, might that have even undermined the amnesty program, which came way short of meeting its targets? We asked today. Here's more.
I will not proceed any further, but
Yes,
I
so
have mentioned, Mr. We know what the amnesty program was for. To help curb the amount of people that is flooding into the United States. We know that our foreign minister violated the CARICOM Treaty when they stopped the Haitians and Jamaicans from traveling freely to this country. My question was, how can the United States say they are partnering with us, with Belize, and our foreign minister and government will use this terminology when, because of this amnesty program, is plunging Belize into poverty? And I will go back to you for that, Mr. Wade. 5 minutes.
Yes, like I was saying, this amnesty program. I mean, the migratory system. I mean, problem where they happen and the in transit through Belize and the amnesty program, tied in, and there was money. There was money. It's a money thing, right? Not too long ago, the U.S. gave Belize, facilitate them with. I can't come to the figure, but it was a huge amount to help the amnesty drive, and it so happened that the same amnesty thing, the prime minister talked about this a few months ago, that, oh yeah, what is happening with the amnesty thing, with these people that we are going to give amnesty to, they won't be able to vote in any election that is coming up soon. But here you see up north, right, what was going on. There was amnesty card already issuing, and there was the immigration service there, and social security service, and even a job fair they had there, right, to facilitate. But it's news, right? I'm not talking anything new. Here again on this same occasion here, they got more money. I'm pretty sure something they got, right? Whether the foreign minister, or that delegation, said the truth so that they could have got that money, but to me, it's all about, seeing what they can get and ignoring, the real problem here at home, right? Because a lot of these donations that they get, these money, does not, trigger down to the poor and less fortunate, right? It does not, right? And like I say, this amnesty drive, and like you rightfully says, Greg, really affect the economy. It affect the Belizeans, in many ways, many ways, right? We barely have for our own self right now as it is, and then to that mass influx, right? I mean, how are they going to survive, if not taking some of what is already here for the people that is already here, and it's not fair to the Belizean people, right? So, I think that the government of Belize should be very careful, in these amnesty drive that they are having, right? Because it's not doing Belizeans any good. That's it. That's my view. Now back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Before I go to you, Ms. Faith, I want to play this tape, and following the tape, I would want you to comment on this that I play. You will hear about the red carpet service that was done in Orange Walk.
At the event we are having here in Orange Walk in the People's Stadium today.
Hi, good morning. I'm Diana Locke from IOM, and today IOM, in partnership with the government and Social Security, and the foreign embassies will be here offering identity, information, and integration. We're doing an integration hub. So basically what that means, we're bringing all the services from government that leads to an identity document. We're also bringing Social Security on board with us. The Labor Department will be providing information on what job opportunities are available in this area. We also have the Embassy of Honduras here with us today. They have foreign nationals who had applied for birth certificates or for national IDs, and they will be distributing those to their nationals today. We also have photograph services in the event anybody needs a service and requires a photograph. We also have Social Security. They'll be providing appointments and assisting people in making their preparation for their documents, for their Social Security documents. The Nationality and Passport Department is here, and they have brought all of their services today. They have the passport. You can apply for a passport. I think they were doing appointments. So you can apply for a passport today. You can apply for a border crossing card. You can submit an application for permanent residence. You can submit an application for nationality, and in the 3 categories, both marriage, registration, and descent. And they're also, I think, providing nationality residence and passport services. So, and today we're actually having, for a very short, brief moment in this hub, the distribution of amnesty registration cards. We're supporting the department in returning those cards to the first set of applicants that have been approved, have paid, and the cards have been printed. So we'll be having a little ceremony from 10 to 11 in the back, just handing out those cards to people. Those persons after.
Miss Fitz, let me hear you on that. 5 minutes.
Who, me?
Yes, you,
Yes,
Sharon.
Miss Fitz.
Why would I be constrained to 5 minutes? Let me give you the 5-minute version or the half of 5-minute version. In 1723 or so, history will recall that Belize was very magnanimous. So people in the Bay voted to sell, I think Emory King, who came here shipwrecked or swam here or happened to be here, was one who used to always remind of us a great contribution way back then to the United States of America. I think as it then was, you notice, preceding the liberation movement there, so that I don't remember if it's in North Shore Church or the old church in Boston. There's a pew, a church pew and bench reserved for gentlemen of the Bay, and I guess, you know, I mean, all of we people, all we profit baymen, seamen, keymen, landmen, people from this part. So we contribute long time. I want for we put it this way: the wife for we people that will represent we government ministers and so on, we leadership have to continue to go hand in hand as though we're a beggar nation. Don't we have our dignity?
Ms. Spitz,
Right?
could you repeat that date for the people, just so they can get the sense of what the context of what you're talking about? Just a date.
That's 1723. If
Long
I
before the
remember rightly.
Before the independence of America.
Yes, and
Okay.
the pew, right? The
Thank you very
same
much.
church, the same church that the bell was rung,
Mhm.
reputed by Paul Revere, might have been a black man, mind you,
Yeah.
to warn that the British were coming, the liberation. That church is still in Boston, USA.
Mhm.
I visited it, and you could Google anything now. So ask Mr. Google, not believe me, but it's reserved for gentlemen of the Bay. What I want to say, though, I want to focus on Belizean rights. That's what Philip Golson would have said. When you navigate, the 2020 hindsight must be a present vision and clarity for Belize, right? I know that we represent humanity to the world, right? But what do we represent to our people? Countries have rights and people have rights. So, yeah, look like another answer, but my 3 minutes will remain. I want to focus on Belizean rights. Then those things that were being mentioned, red carpet, treatment. Those are rights of Belizeans. Those are dignity of Belizean.
Being
We are
denied.
not no citizens of nobody, something like that the Latin represent. We are
Being
south
denied
of
to Belizeans.
Perth Belizean, Ban Belizean, Navel String Belizeans. And when I say we, I mean I'm speaking for the Belizeans who have a right as an extension and an attenuation, if I must be polite, to a birthright that they're entitled to that signal of birthright, which is the Belizean passport. The deprivation of that is, you know, like when a box spread out of people's mouth, then it box people's teeth down their throat and their dignity by when people in Belize have to make appointment for passport, have to go online for that, have to journey for that, have to pan out something, have to find money or can't find it because the passport fee, the more than what they make for the week. One person, and guess what? They have to go wait there. I've heard people say things like they feel like they're at jail when they wait for their passport. They feel it, the lack of dignity. They can't even curse bad word to vent. And you know, Belizeans have always known how to invent.
They get 3 years now. It's then cost bad word, Miss Spitz. 3 years now.
3 years.
That's the last law that they just made.
If I were a politician, though, I would say better people cuss and vent. And when Creole put mouth on you, and by Creole I mean Belizeans, right? Sometimes it worse than if they cuss you outright. Anyway, then a politician that they in a that and that they create that and that they want to deal with that. But getting back to this thing, they put bathroom, they put sign all over the country about amnesty, all kind of zigzag sign or sign with arrow and so, offices and so on national resources. And Mr. Wade, nobody can get any huge amount of money for a birthright. That's just like when they made the self passport, Belizeans fell into the fallacy and the trap of thinking that that was money. There are certain things that no amount of money could displace or buy. Make a ask on this. My view is that every Belizean has an extension of a birthright. Remember when we talk about constitution, policies of state, which must give effect to a birthright? Every Belizean must be entitled to receive a passport. Whether you come from PG, whether you come from Belize City, right? Orange Walk, Kayo, Kikaka, Hamburgers Key, Bakato Tata do Hende, you come in a town, you reach, and these are the things that our government has the resources and the resourcefulness. We have our institutions of state, which should be seen. And I want to say it loud and clear, as I've said it in the past. I haven't said it loud and clear, but I will say it. Belizeans should not pay for a passport. That is birthright. All I would do, or I would suggest and offer these people who are making policies to deprive our people of their passport, deprive them of it, is that ask a Belizean to contribute $30 so that they feel, you know what, I offer this, forget this passport, this CARICOM, this Belizean passport, with all the things machine readable and so, and all the machine and equipment where they put there, you know what, the cost of that can be defrayed. They could get actuaries and social security. If social security interested and invested in things like this, it should be about our birthright first and foremost. Later on down the line, when you don't take care of Belizeans, you know what? Then you look to the court. You know, apart from birthright, you know what the other thing? Privilege, you know. Privilege. But the crassness of it, and that's a polite word, there was a C that preceded it, right? Because you know what? What we have is that these things are for our people. A Belizean man who went to the passport office should not have been threatened with arrest because the immigration or passport or whoever officer, public servant, put down his gender, or red-blooded Belizean man, as a female. And that man, when he was asked and asking for them to correct it, reportedly, the only year I saw Shubo Brong me say, that so they say, that he was being told, well, how we know you are not a trans something? In this year, Belize, and I'm telling you, I'm not joking, Belizeans are being put to a lot of pressures and problem and frustrated out of getting their passports. When things may drop and hike in the passport cost, and you know what, Belizeans, they always, we'll call it, ambush and trouble bank Belizeans close to Easter, before Easter, right? Because you know what? Then some people, and they say, because people talk, you know, you hear the words of people, you listen to people, you know. Well, one person, they may go on the lead trip where they prepare for their children, man, to go across the border, and then they had to say, well, the one are we going or we're not going again? Then when emergency passport, nobody want to get sick. But you know what? Well within the proper of our system, within the proper discretion, if somebody had to get one passport quick, without any hand under the table, money under the table thing, or without a surcharge, how you want to charge people extra because they need to go abroad for help? That's another medicine money. What part your heart they believe in? Those who should protect and look after the policies of state for our country. When you will be saying to Belizeans, you know what? You have to pay more for your passport, or you have to put on something that, and your birthright now, if you can't find, oh, you could find the $200 for your passport, but you better find one. You better find one, what you call it thing? You better find one computer to make one appointment. You know, oh, and then I don't even start to touch abroad. You know the thing where they catch with Belizeans abroad? We should have embassies within the pop. You want hub? You know what is a population hub and center? When you're in, and this is where we could learn from our friendly neighbors north of the border, Mexico, and further north of the border, United States of America and United States of Mexico. We should have in our population hubs open embassies delivering passports and services and refuge to Belizeans and teaching and helping our Belizeans to fill out the forms. Our civil servants and our embassies should be user-friendly to Belizeans. And our embassies, our offices of passport and immigration should be user-friendly and open to Belizeans. 24/7. And we should not be having to pay these prices which are disentitling our people. You should have offered me 5 minutes. Contain me within 3 minutes. That's a 3-minute version, please.
No, go ahead, Ms. Spitz. I think they give you another.
No, but I'm saying, so these are the things which should be addressed. You know what? If you have a pot of soup and you don't want a good parent, right? And you just stretch the chicken, right? And you they put in the record, or you they put in the cilantro, and you they put in the little cabbage and the sweet potato and the little onion and the black pepper and the seasoning, right? And you have a ton load of picnic, right? But one a day, you know, for his constitution need bill. That little one, he eye look like he got little jaundice. That little one look like he a bit, you know, he needs only flesh pan a bone, right? That little one kind of sickly every time with that ton. What you want do? That little one want get one extra piece of the meat first, and he get some broth and gravy, right? And you put little more of the carrots in that one plate. Because that one you have to rescue first, right? That like the tourist sign where they say, where they boast about how much slices of watermelon the tourists they eat. Then one electronic one, how much, me don't know, it's a slice of bacon the tourists then eat. So everybody they live high off of the Haga Belizean. We had a thing called food security, and I'm not stray, you know, because with people get crushed so much that they are not supposed to have the spirit to speak out about these things. And they should be clapping. We are hosts to tourists and we welcome them. But you know what? That food we call watermelon, where they used to feed with slaves with, enslaved people, not slaves, right? But for we people, may know the goodness of the watermelon. The last time I got in the market, the Mennonites, may they sell watermelon for $1 a pound. And I had the good sense to turn around and ask somebody, I want melon, how much a pound? And when the person tell me 150, me nearly drop down. Because me that one when me gone at the constitution meeting, me carry my props, me gone a market first, and I said that with people constitution, you need to build. Food security stop box bread out of Belizean's mouth. So you know what happened? We have a frontal assault on the things that are birthright. And not take it from me. Honorable Philip Stanley Wilberforce Golson said to us decades ago that Belizean rights are the things that will be confronting Belizeans. So we have been kind to the US from 1723. We continue to be kind and work in partnership. But the thing have to be as well that we have to say, you know what? Help we to ensure that we have, but you know what? Why we have to beg for help? Why bother the people there with that? They ain't got enough thing that they have to deal with. Shouldn't we be an example to the world that in our Belize, we ask people to contribute $30, right? Forget their passport. And if they lost their passport, why should they have to go pay $8 or whatever, wait 2 weeks to get one police report? And if they don't get one passport and they expire, why they have to go get, I think then the water that don't know, they have to go get another birth certificate from Vital Stats.
Yeah.
I have to go there 6 a.m. in the morning and pay for that birth certificate, what, $20, $30?
With recommendation. With recommendation too, Miss Pitt, you have to have somebody to recommend you or something like that.
Yes. In all kind of circles.
And when they come from outside and they want to deal with outside, only hear about one thing we call cedula.
Yeah, that's what they been using.
We don't know how to pronounce it right.
Identification
but
card.
Birth certificate is birthright. And for we Vital Stats Department has to start to deliver service to our people. Because you know what? They still suffer from, you know, when they transcribe that or when you write the thing from the handwritten or the typed in volumes that they had with our birth records and so on. And one thing we get from the British, you know, the British are good record keepers, right? Then think that I'm like archives in a sense, right? Archives, yes. So you go now and you find when you go to registry, Vital Stats, and I tell them the car people come to me. And I want to get this one without calling the man name. This man we couldn't vote the last time because somebody changed over the whole voters roll. The man me done got, he had one expired social security card. He had an expired Belize passport. The man made the work that Belize me travel abroad pan the whole passport. The man married the Belize. You understand me? So you know church record go into official record again, registry. Because the pastor or father or reverend have to supply that.
He's a
And the older one
Belizean.
in the archives. This man take more than 3 years
Wow.
to get one
Wow.
birth certificate,
Wow.
which should be a copy of the official record, like a duplicate, a manifestation again,
Yes.
right?
Right.
That you're a Belizean, right? The man walk like Belizean, talk like Belizean, look like Belizean, and we look mixed. But what I'm saying is, if you trace this man generation back, you want to trace and trace and trace and trace. So how it is that we not got good sense and judgment, and I want to tell you something though, my last thing, back in the days, 30 20 years ago, when you had one registry department right by Regent Street where the court there, they deal with lands, they deal with birth paper, they deal with marriage certificate, they deal with all kind of other record. And the whole system, you don't remember when Mr. Knight used to write with a flourish, his calligraphy and so on?
Yes. Yes.
Delivery of service immediate in the sense of you could get that state guaranteed state issue document, government issued. GI Belize, GI somebody, right? GI Miss Jenny, GI Mr. John, within a short period of time.
Shooting.
And now I will give you more. You know if you got a register to go try copy something where they there, you might have to pay so much per page for photo copy the very documents that people need to put together. So why it is that all people are being priced out of Belize. And I tell you now, and I'll finish with this. I was song happy and I want to give people hope because with Belize, they enough to sing Sankipa with people. But our people, this is birthright. This is the tie that binds. We go as guests to the US and we're welcome there, and we, like other people, enjoy that democracy. But wasn't it all illustration of democracy or gift giving from 1723 that allowed us to offer mahogany and logwood sail to help with the U.S. cause of liberation? And when I look into my history too, there was an American who fought to help defend Belize on the side of the seamen and keymen and landmen in the Battle of St. George's Key. So that's the partnership. That is our calling card, and its dignity and history and heritage. Ono stop big. Start to deal with our people. We have money, resources, and not just money, the resourcefulness, the brain, the good sense, the judgment, the intuition, the history and heritage. And it's having our public servants do their work, and those who elect, putting in place policies of state to protect and signal our birthright. And when you deal with that, Belizeans would with more open arms. So you know what? We welcome you, but you know what? You know on the front line. We don't have no hub for we hub. That we embassies abroad, or country abroad, and our hubs where we have heavy Belizean population, right? New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Florida, and even in the boondocks, right? We must have our people being able to have access, being helped with filling out their physical forms, having the ability to call 24/7, and the responsiveness of our Belizeans. And these embassies must be properly resource, and
Uh,
functioning and open to believe.
uh,
Thanks for your patience.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Miss.
Miss Faith.
Greg,
Well said, Miss Faith.
Greg,
Before I go to
yeah,
you,
well,
there is a
no,
message.
Greg, Greg, I do need to have my shot at what was played before and the present conversation. If whatever is it that you're going to deal with is going to change our focus right now, it's going to throw off what I'm trying to contribute to the present conversation. Is it or is
It,
it not?
it will not throw off
Go ahead.
what you
Do what you
intend
got to
to
do then.
say,
Just go ahead and do what you got to
but
do.
there is a banner at the bottom with a question that was asked by Mr. Bill Guerrero Torres. What are the benefits,
Uh,
detriments of amnesty program to Belize?
we
Within
can,
that,
Judge Greg, we can address that after I make my comments. If you don't mind, can I take a jump at that?
right,
It's a valid
but
question and it needs to be addressed.
it is a
But,
valid question.
but I
I
need
will
to.
come to you. It's important. The way I have it set out, I will come to you, but I want to say this. And that's
In the
why I had left you for last. Being we have an amnesty program, we have people still suffering from Lisa that has not get no aid to do repairs. We are coming in hurricane season again. Southside is in poverty, and we had the Prime Minister who got up and specified the donation from the people abroad. How will the donation from the people abroad that is supposed to go to Belizean that are suffering in poverty, how will that be issued out now that we will have other people coming in that will get Belizean citizenship? That is what I wanted to put to you because
that's changing my focus and changing the focus of what we're dealing with currently, which is why I asked you the question initially. To have let me go on ahead because I can see the question on the monitor. I know it's a very important and valid question that needs to be addressed. But what I had to contribute initially needs to come before the answer to
go
the
ahead,
dealing of this question. Now we are tied up with the question being put out there, and what I have to
go
say.
ahead with
Go
your
ahead,
part
Leonard. Go
and I
ahead,
will
Leonard.
answer it
Go ahead,
afterwards.
Leonard. He said, go ahead.
I
Go
will
ahead.
answer it afterwards. Go ahead.
To start with, as far as the facilitation of the migrants is concerned, it could have been and should have been a laudable undertaking if we had kept the effort within the constitutional constraints and boundaries. But as usual, the current bunch of political junkies that we have running our country have no respect and consideration for our constitution. Our constitution says that we're not supposed to be giving any Guatemalans any legal status in our country. Yet, the Prime Minister, as you just mentioned as well, insists in not only just giving them these possibilities, but providing all the mechanisms of the state to facilitate these people who deserve some help, but they are doing so above and beyond the negligence that they are perpetrating against our own born Belizeans. That's my concern about this process. We Belizeans travel abroad. We go to other people's country. We live. I lived in Guatemala 7 years. I lived in Honduras 2 years. I lived in San Salvador 9 months. A lot of Belizeans travel all over the world for different reasons. Some of them do it illegally. As in my case, I came to the United States illegally. And I, like Sharon said, benefit off of the largesses and the kindness and niceness of the American government. But America will never take into its own boundaries and country more outside people than its population. because that would amount to craziness. And that's what these jackasses are doing with free country. The amount of hundreds of thousands and probably millions of people coming from all the way from Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Uruguay, Bolivia, Ecuador, Panama, Honduras, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, into free country. Because they're not all going straight through Guatemala and up into the United States. The United States is having us now accommodate more of these people into our country. And
all
our
about money,
government,
Leonard. All about money.
Wait. If our government was doing their homework and dealing as a decent, law-abiding, and honorable government, they will explain to the United States that free population is already overrun by migrants. Treacherous migrants at that, the ones who are actually claiming with territory. And by accommodating too many more of them into our country, it means that their children will have the right, as any born Belizean, to outvote us and take over the country without having to fire a bullet. As the Guatemalans say, they want to take Belize by reason or by force. So they are not firing any bullets, they are using reason. And the reason is one of demographically impact with country, and for which jackass leaders them can't see that. They don't understand what the issue of balkanization is that's happening to us right now in the South. So they're also facilitating that process. They're not doing their homework in how to deal with that. They have no interest in the well-being of Belize as Belizeans. They're talking craziness about we need a new identity. It is part of the same thing when they say we had to get rid of the British who were keeping us away from Guatemala, taking us over. My problem is with the bigger agenda to subordinate free governance and government and free people and free constitution against our own best interests. There's nothing wrong for our government to tell the United States or any other government, for a matter of fact, that there's only so much of these people we can take in legitimately. We have a problem with the Guatemalans. We cannot be allowing ourselves to be suborned. The last time they talked about, they give $1.5 million to help the migrants campaign. They have given hundreds of millions of dollars. The United States have given hundreds of millions of dollars. Under the Obama government, when Ms. Clinton was the state Secretary of State, they gave hundreds of millions of dollars to Guatemala, Honduras, and Mexico. And Belize never got much, if any at all, out of that. They are now doing the same thing under the current government. Hundreds of millions of dollars they come and they give to all these different republics to subordinate their government and to get them to put pressure on the migrants coming through their country, to stop them by whatever means. And that's their agenda, that's their program, that's the way how they want to handle their business. But why should we be pressured into being the backstop and accommodate more people than we want existing or local population? We should be taking in based on our size of population, not because we have extra lands. How much millions of dollars have they given to, like I said, to the other countries? Them hundreds of millions. Then give Belize $1.5 million the other day. Okay? Are we that cheap? Are our political leaders and our politicians that hard up the economic support that they're willing to take $1.5 million to subordinate the whole of we government and overpopulate we country with people who have devious intents towards us? And block off the born Belizeans them that are out here in the United States who can't get a document, as in the case of my daughter, almost 2 years to get a renewed passport. Okay? The idiots them down in Eliad was trying to have her pay them mordida. And because I put my foot down and said, we don't play that kind of game. And I decided I was going to take her all the way to Belize to get the damn thing resolved if I had to, which we had to end up doing because they never did provided us, even though we had all the documents, everything that they wanted or that they needed. And because my daughter had lost her previous passport, I am her father. I'm the one that registered her. But then you could go around and take one year money on the side and they accommodate all of we government of offices them, coordinate them and put them down in one location to facilitate people who are treacherous towards us.
Sad. Sad.
The Constitution says that the government has invested powers to decide for people who are not born Belizeans, which one of those people could be given rights to Belizean status and under what condition or situation. But it also says, as I'm going to read here, which is, let me read it. I read it on our last 3 programs, but I'm going to read it because within the context of tonight's program. Belize Constitution, Cap 4, Part 3, Section 29. Just a second. And subsection 3 reads as follows. No person shall be entitled under the provisions of this part to be a citizen of Belize or be granted citizenship of Belize if such person shows any allegiance to or is a citizen of a country which does not recognize the independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of Belize. So why the hell we jackass Prime Minister to coordinate all for we local services that we local born Belizean people can get and are not being provided for adequately as the Constitution requires of them, policies of state to validate who we birthright. And they are giving these people papers documenting them that will facilitate them to get probably on the same day as they were coordinating on all the different departments in that particular case that we're referring to get their social security, to get their ID, to get their whatever else all they need, to get their social security ability to claim benefits, to get their medicals, to get their any and everything else that the born Belizean people, especially as I'm referring to right now, the South Side Belizean them, that the stupid ass Prime Minister come and tell we in our face that they don't need no passport because they're not going to travel. But he is hard and pulling all kind of systems and things in a place right now to get the Guatemalans them.
It's all about facilitating them to get ready for election.
What the hell is wrong with we people?
Getting them ready for election.
Who are acting like fifth columnists, pretending that, well, these guys are doing us, the Belizeans, a favor by overpopulating with, and outvoting with, because that's what the Prime Minister is after, getting votes for his election. We just caught his butt commenting on the thing with Melchor, where the people from Cross Melchor who used to come vote for them were complaining that every time they bring them, they offer them $50, but then they only turn around and give them $25 or $35, and they don't want to come now unless they get $100. And because the person that was negotiating with them didn't have the money, they said it wasn't going to be coming, and the Prime Minister jumped in at the damn conversation and offered $15,000 at $100 per person, and 1,000 T-shirts, and 1,000 manifesto. Those were the words that came out of his mouth. That is not the only location that they were running that kind of sham with as well. There were boatloads of people that come all the time from Livingston and Puerto Barrios to come and vote in the elections them. And people that come and go to vote. In fact, you do as I do. I have been doing a survey on my country from 1971, which was the basis on which I instigated the creation of what became the United Democratic Party to stop the government of the day from carrying on the same shenanigans that this current government is now still carrying on. By virtue of putting that party in place, the United Democratic Party, we were able to save ourselves at least 50 years. But now we have an elected government with all governance power in their hand, they betray we.
They both do it, both system.
I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Both
I have a
system.
lot more to say, but I don't think I should be able to say it right now. I'll end up disrespecting myself on the show. I
The
yield back.
question was asked by the good gentleman, what benefits will we gain or lose with the amnesty program?
The answer is
To answer,
we gain the benefit of having the new people out voting us and being able to take over our country and turn it into a republic as the Prime Minister is attempting to do. He's
To lose
putting
the country.
in place. The benefit we get is lose our country. Simple as that.
Then it's set way up to lose the country.
And I think we don't know. While are we a bunch of idiots out here?
well, let me answer it to him this way. There is no benefit when you're flooding your country and you have a government who is placing its people in jeopardy through poverty. Because if America was doing good for us, then why would they come with this?
If you look historically, Belize's poverty census was done every 10 years. Now within the Belizean administration, we acknowledge that poverty is a serious issue. Therefore, when you look at our medium-term development strategy, the first strategy within the medium term is poverty reduction. And so one of the things one of the new policies that was directed to the Statistical Institute of Belize is to do poverty on an annual basis, because we do believe that.
Now, gentlemen and people at home and abroad, and my virtual host, you are asking a country to help you ease the migration problem that you have. You are asking a country to take in these people through amnesty, but you are not trying to help solve the poverty in the country. And not to forget, you want the assistance of the Belizean people. When you are not doing the same, you as the United Nations, who should be standing up for sovereignty, where we should not have even been going to the ICJ, because you was the one who said you would do that. But you are not doing that. Now, within this poverty range, tonight I also wanted to bring up something, and Ms. Fitz, I wanted to show up. I had mentioned before, time and time over, how we are living in a designer system designed by past and present governments to keep us down. Just recently, we saw how the government added $1.10 on the minimum wage, only to find that secretly these things are being taken back when the government sides with foreign investors. And specifically what I'm speaking about is the government taking over the port and decided to settle with Ashcroft for a lawsuit that he wanted the then Mr. Ashcroft to remain hush-hush. Following that, the government through central bank decided that Belize banks should not charge a fee on your money for you to withdraw it. And following this step, Mr. Wade, I want to go to you first. Okay?
I mean, that private high school, bro, you know? Anyway, yeah.
I want to our next beef top.
Yes, our next beef topic is the BBL versus the CCB.
So, BBL, Belize Bank Limited.
Yes.
Mr. Ashcroft's bank and the Central Bank of Belize So Central Bank of Belize came forward. Are we able to play the audio on this one, guys? Could we play the audio on this one? Yeah? So let me give it some background. The Belize Bank, the Central Bank of Belize set out practice direction number 7. The reason why it's number 7 is because these are very rare.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
These are given maybe once every 10 years or something. So practice direction number 7 said, Belize Bank, all owner, or can't charge people to use the ATM. That are for them money.
Yeah.
Or can't tax people to get their own money. Belize Bank, to its credit, Central Bank of Belize, to its credit, took a populist stance. Yo, man, you can't charge people to take out their own money. You're already using their money to make money.
Yeah.
Belize Bank is the most profitable bank in Belize, by far. Yo, ease the people there. Well, you know Belize Bank, you can't tell Mr. Ashcroft nothing. He runs this town.
Yeah.
This stuff he town. He runs this town. So now, Belize Bank, of course, said, well, we'll challenge it. They won't challenge anything. If I grow hair here and challenge it. We'll challenge that. We'll legally challenge that. That's what's stopping me from a hair transplant. But
Just that.
just that. But I'm just saying, so we'll challenge that. Yo, we'll take that to court. We'll take that to court. Yeah. Well, no, whatever. My point is that, so, we go to court. The government, I understand, hires its best Douglas Mendes, the Trinidadian Senior Counsel. And Belize Bank brings its attorney, Marine Parade Chambers. But then suddenly, here's what the price. Suddenly, we ain't settled. Why are you going to do that? So let's play that small soundbite with the question from Joe Marie.
Finance, what is your position on the policy directive number 7 from the Central Bank of Belize? The Belize Bank is challenging it in court and saying that it will not or cannot implement the reduction in ATM fees. Where do you stand on this issue?
Well, we have been meeting with both the Central Bank governor and the Belize Bank, the officials of the Belize Bank, and we believe that there would be no need to go to court and that we can to meet the objectives of the Central Bank, and that's what we're working for.
Once again, the government is prepared to capitulate to the Ashcroft Alliance. What would trigger them to do this? Are they, the governor of the Central Bank could not have gone ahead with policy directive number 7 if he did not have the support of the government. So the government had to know that he's going to do this.
Yeah.
All right.
So then why you pull the chair out from under the man and say, at the first appearance of a legal challenge, no, we're not into this. Why did the central bank do it? In whose interest did it do it? In consumers' interest, in bank users' interest, who have to pay 50 cents every time they use the ATM.
They use the ATM, yeah.
These are some, so now the government is always quick to capitulate, right? So here are these should have been effective January 2nd, but because of the legal action, they were never implemented.
So you want me to, who you want to go, Mr. Chairman?
I'll go to you first, Mr. Weir.
Thank you. With me, knowing the type of person and knowing the players, knowing the way, you heard it from Joe's, the way Ashcroft run this country, and then the facilitator, our Prime Minister. For me, it's only Roody Wade. I think that whole scenario was start off, was planned, and it's another way to facilitate Ashcroft, right? It's another way to say, well, then they look out, the Prime Minister, they look out for him, for the people and Ashcroft, but they don't talk about that, right? And then, Bob, you see, quickly again, he settle out a court. Same thing, past government, that man just have a whole of this country, man, whole of the politicians, whole on them, right? Millions, hundreds of millions in the last government gave to Ashcroft, right? Who was his attorney once? Dean Barrow, Godfrey Smith, man, Courtney, right? And who are those players big in government just to facilitate that devil of a man, Koi, right? You see, the PUP came into power right away, $76 million right away. Hold on, Mr. Ashcroft, because you know we ain't get from you later on, right? You understand me?
Another
So
90
that
million
25-cent service charge, I think that was just another ploy. That was something that Ashcroft and the Belizean cronies sat and thought about. Well, you know what? Make work it this way. Okay, the central bank will say this, and then we said, okay, that me hire the central bank governor, you know, that me deal with him, right? That me hire him, right? So Belizean must tell Ashcroft, right? So that 25 cents, don't worry about that, man. You will get more on that, right? Do we hear what the settlement was? Settle out at court, right? So to me, you know, my guys, you know, that's nothing strange, you know, this country, man. You know, that man come to Belize and just to fully pack it and go back to our next country, fully pack it yonder and fully pack it yonder again. I don't know if when he leave this sinful earth, all of that could hold in a box. I don't know, right? But every time you turn around, past and present government facilitate that man. And it's not a PUP money, nor a UDP money. It's all about the taxpayers' money, right? And the taxpayers' assets. Because that man's supposed to own at least 2/3 of this country, man. Or maybe more. That's the way I feel, right? But it's all about facilitating, right? Both government does it. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. Ms. Smith, we speak about...
Let me see, I just want to get this in, right? You referred to, I believe, something about or showed something to the effect that they would be doing these, what you call it, census on poverty. Is it from 10 years to 5 years to now every year? Well, I know there's something that is called
10 years, they say.
use and abuse of statistics. And however they put it, right? For them to be saying that they would do the exercise or conduct it, they want to trick people, make it look like, you know what, then they keep on close watch for poverty. But I want to tell you this, right? My intuition and understanding right off is that Belize not a deal with poverty as it was before. You have one thing where they call one abject, vulgar, ugly underbelly of politics, where Belizeans reach one point, there is a destitution that had never been in this country before. Mm-hmm. And I want to tell you something. Then only the box spread out of people's mouth, poor people's mouth. Then the box, the smile off of Belizean people. You know when they say, full belly tell, hungry belly keep hot?
Okay.
This, you know, and then this other thing with central bank saying, well, you know what? Pass whatever that they, 7 supposed to be one good number, you know, a lucky number, 7 days of the week. 7 recur in African history and so on, no, from Mother Earth, right? The thing is, usually signal nurturing and everything, right? The thing is, right? With respect to charging people, right? I'd say, and I just hear you an angle where one of the gentlemen say that people have a right to withdraw their money. So then you walk in at the bank door, you fill out one form, you stand up in our line. You know the take up space, you know the breathing AC, you know the wait in front of our teller. So you the use up less resource. Or sorry, yes, you use up less resource when you go to one ATM, right? You don't even have to have, if you're into the environment or you know want the paper, you don't even have to get one paper out of the machine. It's programmed. Artificial intelligence, which somebody say in a Silicon Valley, one expert, neither artificial nor intelligent, but that's another story. So then it should be it's one that you're looking at. It'll be good, cheaper cost to deliver and have people access their funds that way. And if they want to burn up in a sun hat because the line long outside at the ATM, that's their business. So how you want to charge? I still don't understand that. Then what I want to say that the attorney come from the government? Where in the Caribbean did the attorney come for to represent the government?
From the Caribbean. He's from the
What
Caribbean.
country? What country?
He's from one of those Caribbean countries.
Was it Trinidad? If it was from there, it brought to mind. I remember Trinidadian, you know how Belizeans like bad thing make laugh? You saw the government pass one law to make people stop cuss bad word under the burden of 3 years liability to imprisonment. Well, I want to tell you something. They should have passed one law to make Belizeans take bad thing make laugh. Because every time you see how when anything happen, there's consternation and with a laugh and with a take it make joke. We have one jokeified response to the very things where they take we out as one people. And Trinidad, I think they had a calypso, Captain, the ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Shall we abandon ship or shall we salvage it? Then they had another one. Something, they happen something, and we're laughing, they do this to that, we're laughing. Still people kicking up in Trinidad. And I want to tell you this, bring it back to home. I like say animal, right? And I like one little joke now and again. So you know when circus the visit, right? You used to have, I think the last time one come, me did a civic, or the last time I got that one, because I sometimes like that animals cage up and so on, right? But you had 2 clown, one big clown and one little clown, right? And this clown made a chance up the small clown. And they made it talk in Spanish, but they made it translate so that Belizeans get the cue and you laugh hard and you laugh in English and you laugh in Creole and you laugh in Spanish if you could follow the they may kind enough to translate. Cut to the chase, the quick thing, right? For their act that made it. You know they clown have them big shoes where if they put that size 5, the shoes are about size 40. So the big clown got it and the little clown got it. But every time the baby clown got at the middle of the stage, he looked back and he leaned over and the big clown looked on the audience and he wait, you know, he timing and delivery good. So he left you to hold your breath and then you start to try pump up. And then he kicked the baby clown in behind. Kick her hard, you know, like he apply halfway, cross the circle. Then you know what? When the crowd settle down and laugh, you know, the little clown come back for more, you know. And you know what the big clown do? He asked her, mass. Then he turned and he bewildered and he turned to the audience and he said, mass, more. I want to think the audience say, more, mass. I want to think the baby clown though. He obliged and he laughed because he's a part of the act and he's a star. He's at the center stage and he leaned forward and he said, mass. And the crowd said, you know what he said? More. And the Belizeans say, make them sure they get their money worth. They holler, mass. I'd use that to say, because sometimes only colloquial you could use to get across a Belizeans. And make I just finish this. Look panting. When they take out bad word, 3 liable to 3 years. You know what? Say that weed smoking. And some call it herb, a herb. But remember with
That
them
law
fixing
went
that
up.
school, no commission or inquiry. When they weed, they drugs, the masquerade as candidate by the school. You notice what they do for Belizeans? You don't get medicine hospital, you don't get your scan. But you know what? Free up, free up. You don't need your senses, they give you the sense of Mia. This thing they look like a lot of the communist dictates and tricks and the dictatorship and everything from their regime to the West. You know what then they do? Then they get with people for weed themselves out because you for mellow. When they call in this weed thing, me say years and years ago on TV, you know, they want to give you the sense of Mia so they could take away your senses. You for mild, you for mellow. They for pass the Dutchie again for you. And you know what? Tea then and tea. On a freedom that is smoke that. Remember when the Indians they may get this peace pipe and smoke it? Careful wanna smoke, you know. Me not the rain down morality for anybody. But you know what? We need one moratorium. Maybe one time of the day. Some hours in of the day. Maybe one lead time. Notice we in a Lenten season. They take away Good Friday. The tourists they need the rum, so they could drink the rum and the rum shop go open and sell the rum, right? But the one time when we people may have at least spirituality and at least sobriety. You know, the national prayer, and that prayer was plagiarized, you know. But anyway,
I'd like to be able to make a small contribution, if you don't mind.
give us what? Sobriety and useful knowledge. What is sobriety and the useful knowledge there? That's what people need right now, some of that. But our people are being allowed to weed themselves out. Because you know what? We don't know if it's a bad thing, make law. But you know what? Uno mellow, uno line up, and I have the Judas goats. Usually they're not the sturdy ones. When I lead with people to the slaughter.
We only have certain amount of minutes left in the program.
Yes,
and
sir.
We need to try and split it up.
I listened to you, Ms. Fitz. I'm coming to you right now, Mr. Brackett. And what you were saying about the law that they passed. Ms. Fitz rightfully said, we are going dictatorship. Do you know as we speak, Bootsy Martinez could go on trial for questioning the authority of the GG, with that recall that he took there? I look on social media tonight and they are referring to the Attorney General if they should charge him under the Constitution. For what? The comments he made about the Governor General not doing her job. Now imagine, I go to you now, Mr. Brackett.
Hold on, I want to say something, right? That people must understand that what anybody who has certain office in this country must look to when politicians or leaders in government seek to keep them from do their oath. And one thing with the British, you know, the man sent flowers to his sweetheart. He resigned before him bring his office into disrepute. He was alleged, you know. We don't know if that's so. So those were certain things, no? And that's the value of that system of parliamentary democracy. Now, freedom of speech, that's something sacrosanct, right? There's a thing though, one must look to one's oath, and the oath is under the Constitution of Belize. And I want to tell you, the mandate of the people, the good people of Belize, even the people who are tricked, must not be used as a stick to beat and break the back of Belizean people. And I will say we invoke prayers because only prayers must save Belize right now.
Amen to that.
Under the present situation, the government is only trying to use these laws as a matter of convenience and to be able to enforce a concept of blocking people from making comments and or disparaging and or informing and or communicating and or, as the Constitution says, the government should make no laws against people's constitutional civil rights. That is for them to communicate with each other, with anybody else, or with a group, or even with the government. So where the hell do they come up with this idea that
And honorable men and
Sharon,
women
give me a shot.
respect. They don't commandeer it. You don't legislate respect.
Sharon, give me a shot, please. They don't have the authority vested in them to dispossess the people of their basic civil rights and their constitutionally guaranteed rights. So when they go to the House and make these bogus laws that are null and void according to the Constitution, they should not be allowed to go ahead and try to make headway and force people to fight the government to have their rights established. The government has not taken those rights away from the people. The people have not ceded those rights under no plebiscite or constitutional means. And the government, according to the present Constitution, unless they change it, which they are attempting to do, has not, in its current powers, the ability to derogate people's basic civil rights. But most people know I have money if you go get to a lawyer and implement Section 20 of the Constitution for a judicial review on any of these matters, especially the smaller people around the country. So they use these bogus laws and victimize people with them under the pretext that it's laws that they pass that they were authorized to pass, when in fact they damn well know, like I keep on saying to you guys over and over and over, that they're putting bogus laws on the book. And every time they go to court, they lose the cases. The bottom line is that I left that part alone because I could probably deal with that on the Constitution.
This will be
time is running out right now. Time is running out, and I wanted to go back to one.
Just allow me this. This will be a watershed period in Belizean history when words will be invented and phrases and descripts will be invented by people who want to express their feelings. So some of them will earn some unheard of descriptions. They will hear some unheard of words, and they will be lucky if they hear it. Because you know what?
I wanted to go back to the previous point, though, that was being discussed before this other one came up.
3 more minutes.
I never had a chance to contribute or
3 more minutes left.
No, we already allocated an extra 15 minutes, but we got to be careful how we use it because we need to share it. No, on the previous points that was being discussed, I want to say that our government should not be using our Constitution as a baseball bat against we general populace. Okay? Their current conduct is the stuff that revolutions are made of, and or historically have been found to be the instigation of revolutions all over the world. Whenever a government gets to the point where they're going to try and assume the posture of violating their constitutional mandates and authority and try to pretend that they have a right to abuse the people turn around and show them who is boss. We have had that throughout the world. It's not nothing new. But our Belizean government believes that because we Belizean people are docile, timid, laid back, they can do with us whatever they want, and there's no consequences. And when we tell them, in fact, they turn around and tell the teachers them that there will be consequences to the teachers. They could turn around and bully people in the media and on the internet. And nobody grabbed them carrying like us the other day. Where was Mr. Chester Williams to go and grab Mr. Prime Minister when he was bullying the lady that had the problem with the gentleman out in Key? When he jumped in at the middle of them private conversation and start stipulating whatever he wanted to stipulate. I never said Chester jump up and go and grab me and say, we got to take you a DPP to make DPP come up with something so we could go ahead and prosecute you because you violated the laws that you yourself created. No, those laws are for us, not for them. The laws are made by a privileged few for the welfare and the benefit of the privileged few, and not me and you. So they make these bogus laws and they victimize us with it. Then go and grab the little man the other day. I forget what the young man. Where the other minister said, Budna. Where the other minister claimed that the young man cyberbullied him. He never, the same, Mr. I forget the man's name.
Cervantes?
Yeah, the same Mr. Cervantes bullied Mr. Vega on the internet and across the whole divide of the country when he was maliciously accusing the man of having something to do with the death of his own father. He didn't get arrested for bullying. So these guys put the laws on the book, but they don't allow the laws to take its course and prosecute them for their shortcoming. But when they feel aggrieved, they want to go get the commissioner of police to go arrest whoever they want, put them in a police house overnight, and turn around and victimize them, and then maybe later on, and then try to carry in a court. Then just say, okay, well, it's all over it. Why? Because they don't victimize the person, they don't intimidate the person, and then got for them satisfaction. And you have the police commissioner issue out one APB on the gentleman and have his officer go and arrest the gentleman when in fact he was above his authority to do that. There was no case court that the gentleman didn't answer for as a criminal or as an alleged criminal, that he didn't want to show up, that they had to go put out an APB to go and find him based on a court order for him to show up in court. Mr. Cervantes should have followed what was his rights to file a civil case against the gentleman, and if the gentleman did not answer the civil case, then by virtue of the court order from the court, the police would have been empowered then to use the vested authority in it for a legal and proper course, which is to bring the defendant or the accused to the court for judicial process. But prior to that, he can't go out there and take the powers vested in him as commissioner and send a police officer go arrest somebody as a favor to somebody else, or as a favor to him boss or one of the ministers them. That's a contravention of the legal process in the country and of people's constitutional right. We don't live in a republic yet. Then try to go stay fast. I don't know if they are real succeed, or probably over my dead body, and they're probably ready to take me out anyhow for as much mischief as I have created for them. But that's my agenda for the rest of my life. So when they're ready to take me out, then go ahead and take me out. There are others who will be replacing me, who are already in the pipeline. But woe unto them when they make that mistake to try to go in our direction there, because then they know how barley grow. And the barley we are the top about, I know the barley like my head, we have a 1 and 2 leaf rabu here up on the top still yet. The real shine barley. Okay? The skull man. So if they don't know what mutual assured destruction is, play the fool and call the card. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Mr. Brackett. But rightfully said, unconstitutional laws is being made by the government. I look at the Family and Children Act, Mr. 173, Section 48 and 49, that was amended, so that grandparents must, by law now, take care of their grandkids.
That is wicked. Hold on for me, please. That is wicked. Then grandparents ever give birth to anybody, they have already contributed to Belize. and the state is the supreme parent. Every time and they shift and skedaddle away from responsibility. And since you mentioned grandparents, you know, only know said that it is said that rumor has it that remember elders used to get one non-contributory thing from Social Security. Me no remember it's $100 a month, and about 1,500 elders used to get it, and then that number dropped down to about 900. And then it tries that Social Security can't give that out, and then it phase that their grandfathering it in. Instead of grandfather and grandmother, the elders into getting and making that across the board for every person who wants to collect it above a certain age. What you would do?
The money is not available.
Not a grandparents, some of them are left their food and getting leave grandbabies already. So in the social and cultural aspect, you don't legislate that. We are still an extended family. We have a culture where people look after their own. They just can't. How you are imposed that is wrong. That is immoral. I don't know how anybody could pass that law.
Greg, Greg, comment on the moral hazard.
It falls under formal family arrangement. Grandparents do that anyway without their kids know. And it's unconstitutional. The government cannot make a contract between a grandparent and their grandkids. That is within Section 8 of the Constitution under forced labor. And not only that, it violates Section 50 of the Children's and the Family and Children Act that says every child born out of wedlock has a moral obligation to take care of their mother and father or grandmother and grandparents when they become of age. How
morality
can they not look at that?
Morality is not the same as legality. So they cannot take a moral issue and codify it and make it a legal responsibility. It's unconstitutional.
And I think there's a corollary with that. I don't know, I can't cite it or say maybe where it's at on the Belize law, but generally where you have a provision that a child should have to take care of the parent or grandparent, it is founded on that proviso corollary where the parent or grandparent would have taken care of that child once he had or she had the ability. So these things aren't just cut and paste. You have to understand the law and the sociology of
that's why they are forbidden from making it into a constitutional requirement, into a legal requirement. There's a reason why. To avoid that. But they're trying to get away from their government state responsibility to take care of why you have a child department to take care of that process, but they're trying to come up now with these bogus laws to exempt the government from taking on that responsibility. Like the senator said,
not only that,
Ms. Smith said, how could her dad at the age of 91 years old would have taken care of her brother's children when the man wouldn't have probably had the income to do it in the first place? So you want to codify one law that makes a calf law out of somebody. A bunch of knuckleheads, man.
Not only that, but also if you look up Commonwealth Caribbean law.
Then another thing, sorry, one other thing. When a man is taken to court for maintenance, right? The man could go through one thing and deny paternity, or it has to be founded on that. If he register the birth, then that's prima facie only, right? So you could have no DNA, right? But how now the state going to impose on the reputed grandfather one DNA test? They think they're wrong, man.
But Miss Fitz, how can you take what
Then the
is
hustle, the grandparents
administrative?
know. Those people who are at their prime, who the country owe everything to,
Can I
who must
contribute a quick thought?
regularly be reading their newspaper,
The
tending
question,
their garden, use
Greg,
a little income to buy an ice
yes,
cream if they want, or one sugar
could I,
plum for
could
their
I,
grandkids.
could I
You
contribute a quick thought quickly? I know he was about to say something and he was asking his speech to yield to you, Greg, but could I just say this quickly? What the state is actually trying to do is to tap into whatever available resources the grandparent would have maybe had, because in most instances, the grandparent, they have one little house or maybe one little land or what, or resource. Some people are at different stages in life and different people have different. Sharon, make I establish the point. The grandparents, some of them are really poverty stricken. They have nothing. They're in poor house. Others are rich and have all kind of lands and resources and probably own business and companies and and then you have others in between those two levels, right? What the government is trying to do is codify in law the responsibility of grandparents who have means and assets to take care of their grandkids, so that the government don't have to pick up that tab. But that law, once it's put on the book, it runs the gamut of every law, as the Constitution says under Section 6. Everybody is equal under the law. So when they put them laws on the book, it impacts everybody, including the man with that poor house. The fact that you did a poor house don't mean that the law don't exist. And if the law says, if the law says that you as the grandparent, without a poor house, responsible for taking up and maintaining and taking care of your own kids and kids, then somehow or another, for a poor house, you have to share with you to get a poor house, your food or your lodging or whatever with your grandkids. You have to bring the grandkids to a poor house. That are the ludicrousness of the law. These crazy idiots.
Mr. Brackett, I know why we miss this worse than that, right? What you have is that yesterday law then, remember I made it say one time when they coined that bad word law, and I made like afterthought with if you cost politician, that was intended for the politicians to protect them. So sponsored. But with this thing and with this responsibility being foisted on grandparents wrongly, and I call it out wrong. A filthy thinking. What will happen to people who are in the upper echelons? For the most part,
what I was about to say.
They got enough pocket money to treat all Ellie friends then lunch the whatever.
Sharon, we only have what 2 minutes left. Probably 2 minutes left. Greg needed was to finish the before it closes.
What I was about to say, and you know this, we know this. You cannot take administrative and turn it into judicial, and that is what they are trying to do. Family and Children Act comes under administrative. It cannot be turned into judicial. Okay, Mr. Wade, go ahead.
We only have 1 minute left, Greg. We got 1 minute. I don't know how you cut it, but
go ahead, Greg. You can do a closeout.
I'm giving you, Mr. Wade.
Well, it's always a pleasure, to be in your company, and I just hope that whatever we have said tonight, is of some beneficiary to someone. On this program, we are about people, a nation. We call out the ills of the country, and on behalf of the poor and less fortunate, because they are voiceless. But a lot of wrong things has been done to our people, and they just sit back and take it, and again, we got to blame ourselves, because we keep electing the same people over and over and over, right? To do the same thing to us over and over and over, right? So it's high noon that our people open up our eyes and open up their eyes, because it happened to them. So I will not elaborate. Go ahead, Leonard.
Mr. Wade, we have to close now, but just before we close, I just want to invite everyone to Wednesday night program, because I think we need to continue this discussion and flesh out some of these details a little bit more with clarity, and especially because of the authority of the government making laws and making bogus laws, and we have to speak to these things a little bit more. We just cannot leave the public at the mercy of a criminal government. Okay.
To our viewers and listeners, I want to thank them, and again, welcome, Miss Sharon. I missed you for a while, but welcome back. And it's always a pleasure to be in your company. And I just want to say to our viewers and listeners, good night. Tune in on Belizean Affairs on Wednesday night.
We're done.
Yeah.
Greg, you want to throw on our music there for a couple of seconds, sir? We can't play it not too long. Go
ahead, Mr. Chairman.
About our old story, how me ancestors